here. We're very friendly. This is not front page challenge. This is not. We're a good friendly bunch, and have fun. I'm going to throw it over to our program coordinator, Celia Barato, and to do the introduction. Thanks for coming, everyone, and stay tuned.
All right, thank you, Clint. Welcome, everyone, and thank you for joining us tonight to enjoy Cindy Motzenbecker's The MotZ's presentation, her special talk on vintage occupational photography. Now, I kid you not when I tell you you're in for a show. We ran our rehearsal a little while ago, and my brain still has not recovered from what I've seen. So I hope that tonight will be it is a very wonderful treat. MotZ has been collecting photography for a very long time, and she has developed a very keen eye. And we're going to see that talent today with a very special curated sets of images that she's prepared to generously share with us. MotZ has been in and around photography since the grade 7, right? Living on a street with a bunch of photo nerds of her age. You know, as she says, there were always at least 3 darkrooms going on at the same time, at any one time, day or night, Monday through Sunday. I've had the pleasure of knowing MotZ here, meeting her here through this program. She joins us from Royal Oak, just north of Detroit, Michigan, and which happens to be like right across the river from where I am in Windsor, Ontario, where this program is coming to you this month. And well, without any further ado, I'd like to present you Cindy Motzenbecker, The MotZ.
Okay. Very good. Now we got to have the pictures. Thank you for everybody for showing up. This is kind of scary, to say the least.
I won't tell you how many people are attending, but I tell you, it's a big number.
Yeah, well, it's all right. I'll tell you.
So what I'd like to ask everyone is to please mute your microphones and turn off your cameras in order to give Cindy the most bandwidth possible for her beautiful image to reach our screens. Thank you very much. And without any ado, Cindy, it's all yours.
Oh, I got to say a shout out to my husband, though, too. Because he's a long-suffering guy in the basement. I hope he's watching. So, and I just thought I'd start out with this guy. I didn't know right where to put him, but he's got one of those old fold-out rulers. And he looks like he might smack you with it. So, go to the next one. And I don't have very many daguerreotype occupationals, but this is my only one that's worth showing. And you can see his little compass. So I think he's a draftsman. So, and I managed to get this at the end of a show. I didn't even see it, and I was lucky to get it. So you can go to the next one. And this one's kind of stark, but then the guy is sitting there with his microscope, but he's taking notes, but it's got his name down on the bottom. So it's kind of cute. You think his office would be classier than that. And then this, I think this is a doctor's office, but it all looks pretty scary, you know, with all the equipment laying around. I thought this would be bigger just for you guys to see, but hopefully you got a big screen you can see it on. And I don't know if they're brothers. And then here's a pharmacy. It's a cyanotype. Kind of fun. And here's another pharmacy. And this one has a gas light and also an electric light. And it's got all the chemicals in the back, and it looks like hairbrushes and stuff in the front. And this one is a farm. This also has electric and gas lights, but it's like the pharmacy. And then they decided they could make money and have a soda fountain since they had all the stuff to do that. So you can see all the chemicals in the back there too. And here's some guys that, you know, back in the day when you knew what to do with your chemistry. The one on the right is a real photo postcard. The other one is just a regular board mount. And there's that's a CDV carte de visite on the right, and that's the photographer on the back. And that other guy's pouring chemistry. I originally thought they were darkroom. Of course, it's where I'm coming from, but not necessarily. And here, oh, and then the dentist. You got to have the dentist. And I thought that's got to be his wife with her big fancy hairdo. That's all you can see. That's a pretty decent dentist office. Oh, there was another, previous to this one is another dentist. Oh, the other way. There it is. There's a, look at the hand drill to drill out the teeth. Doesn't that just make you cringe? And then there's the doctor on the right with the nurse doing something there behind him. And that's an optometrist on the left, and then a nurse mixing up medications on the right. It's a carte de visite on the left and a board mount on the right. Now to do the women's work. And then there's the firemen are on the left, and they must have got some kind of award or something, or that's why they're holding hands, but they're got that respectful distance. And I think the guy on the right, you know, feel free to speak up about what you think this is, because I'm faking it. That guy, I think, probably was like a streetcar conductor, but he's got the umbrella to keep people out, or else he worked for the trains. I'm not sure.
All right. Sorry to interrupt you, Motz. Can everybody hear Motz's presentation? We received some. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Great. Excellent. All right. So no issues there. Okay. Awesome.
No issues.
Loud and
Okay. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, you got to be able to hear her. Of course, it's good eye candy though too. So.
It's truth.
And then I love printing stuff. I used to get printing blocks when I was a kid. So when I saw this printing shop on the left, it was like, oh boy. And that's a board mount. And the one on the right is a tintype. And I think the woman is probably the typesetter, and the young boy is holding up a newspaper. So he's got the big apron on. That must have been an easy day. And then these guys are scribes on the outside, and, you know, probably keeping ledgers and stuff. And the guy in the middle, I didn't quite know where to put the artist. So, but he's doing the same kind of thing with his hand. So I stuck him in the middle. And those three are all tintype. And then since, you know, I'm a cat person, and I thought everybody needed to suffer through this cat picture. And I don't know how they got this cat, not to spill the ink, but he's chewing on the feather. And it's amazing that he didn't screw up the whole picture. So it's a shout out to all the cat people. And then these guys, it's a tintype with the close-up of their boots. And I think when I first got it, I thought they were lumber guys, but I think they're linemen where they were putting in the telegraph. I think it's an early tin too. So they were in the knee-high leather boots. Scary. And there's more linemen. The crew there is really fabulous. Real photo. Both of those are real photo postcards. Can you smell those guys from here? And then waitress work drove me back into college, so I had to have the wait staff. These are all tintypes, and the one in the center is like at a county fair or something. And I think the people on the right were just, you know, they had those tintype booths just to sell, and they must just sell to the people that came. So these people are there to get while they were working. Let's go get our picture taken. And the one on the left is in a studio. And here we got the butcher. The one, whoop, whoop. Okay, there's the butcher. The one on the left is a real photo postcard with the big ham. And then the other guy is in the shop or in the studio. It's really odd with the bookcase in the background. And he's sharpening his knife. And there's maid service. There's all the stuff on the table for where they would deliver to breakfast or whatever they were doing. And then this is just a kind of a conglomerate of women's work. I think she's peeling potatoes on the left in a real photo postcard. And the women in the middle, I think, are knitting. And then the woman on the right is like doing something with flour and making some kind of food. I didn't quite get what the bowl was in front, but I think there's like a wheat going up and down there, vertical. That's Mexican, part of the Z. And then weavers, they're both tintypes. The one on the right's kind of tired, but I liked it. What a tedious job. And there's a woman spinning. Usually the spinning wheel carte de visites are from Europe, but this one was Ohio, so I was excited. And the other one on the right is a tintype, and she's cleaning the lantern. Let's see, the globe of the lantern. She must be the maid or something. Kind of cool. And then, of course, we have to have the school teachers. There was a lot of those. Most women would teach until they got married and then they went to take care of the house. My grandma did that too. So. But there's a male teacher too. Both tintypes. And the guy on the left is a tintype. He's a glove salesman. So, and he's got all the gloves behind him. And then the guy on the right is, I think he's Michigan. Yeah, Charlotte, Michigan. And he's a clothing salesperson. Sorry about some of these. I'm still learning about scanning, and that's a constant uphill battle. The guys on the left, these are both tins. They I didn't quite figure out what they were doing even after blowing it up, but they were gathering something. I don't know if it's truffles or, and the guys on the right are plaster workers, and you can see his trowel there. And then they got the boards where they would hold the plaster to slap it on. And I don't quite know what those tools were for, but they're pretty impressive. They're both tintypes. And the guy on the right has a plane. But I don't know, though those are big, serious tools there, whatever they were doing with it. The one guy's got a hammer, and I don't quite get, unless that was to help turn the wrench, you got me.
It almost looks like an auger to auger through the ice.
Yeah, it could be.
Mm.
But they don't have any other, they're not dressed for being ice cutters.
Right, they freeze to death.
Yeah. Of course, it is in the studio.
Yeah. Or they want to open up the world's biggest bottle of wine.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Let's do that. Let's pour a glass.
It's truth.
And the guy on the left is like, they would put those banners up. So that's kind of like he would put the banner up, and you could see the studio backdrop with the reflector, the light up on top. And the guys on the right are kind of doing the same thing. But they almost look like they got oily pants on. Hmm. And the guy on the left, I think it's their salesman. And the guy on the left has an iron where you would heat it up on the stove thing on the left. And the guy on the right is selling attachments for your washing machine.
Hmm.
Yeah. And this is a cobbler. And the picture on the right is the same guy with his wife, so I thought I'd include it. So, but he's got that thing to hold the, I don't know the right term. It's like a big clamp to hold the shoes while he worked on it. I love the scraggly little trees in the back. And there's another cobbler shop. That's a real photo postcard. You notice the pipe from the stove, and they didn't just have it go directly out, but they could get all the heat out of that pipe all the way out to the back of the building. Looks like a grubby job. Oh, and these are butchers again. I should have put the butchers together, but he's got a table full of meat, and that's probably one of the better fed dogs in town there. They're both tintype. Oh no, they're not going to do the dog. Americans don't eat dogs. And here's a road. It's like a rock crusher. It's a steam machine. If you've ever been to that Buckley, those people that live in Michigan, the Buckley steam tractor thing. I guess there's steam tractor shows all over the northern US. But that, just the sound would be just hard to take, and the smell. But you got to lay the roads to get around. And in Michigan, up in the Thumb area, they made grindstones, and that's what this factory is. They're making grindstones to grind. Those are big ones. And here we are, some skilled trades guys. He's probably working in a dam where they're making electricity. I don't think I'd trust him on a bad day or even a good day. He means business with his ranch. And here's I think it's, geez, my brain is not functioning, but it's where they smooth out the wood. And there's no safety devices there, no hearing cut protection, just amazing.
It's a planer.
Yeah, planer, that's the word. It's a nice, sharp, real photo postcards. And when I was working, I worked near a tire shop. So here's a tire shop. It's a pretty clean shop too for a bunch of guys. This one, I wasn't quite sure what was going on, but there's belts. It might be more planing. It's a drive-in place, so it might be automotive work. So if anybody has any ideas, feel free. And these guys are well drilling. I don't know if it's oil or water, but they seem to be having a good time. They're not too dirty yet for the day. And these guys are making barrels. I don't know, they're real photo postcards, but you got to have barrels to put your stuff in.
The name of the barrel tradesman is called a cooper.
Oh, Cooper, that's
They're coopers, and I think I'm thinking Henry Ford's dad was a cooper, but I could be wrong on that. But so he was kind of fascinated with coopers. I think there's a lot of stuff at Greenfield Village on that.
Oh, cool, thanks. And then the dredging operations, I've never really seen a big boat like that, so I got pretty excited when I found that. Most of them have the dredges that have like the house on the back of them, so everybody just lived and worked, and they just kept dredging, and everybody was together all the time. And that the guys with the dredge with the diving stuff up there, it's pretty cool. And here they're building a dam. So I love big cranes and how they work. And those guys, you know, again, no safety stuff. All those guys up there on top of that rail, I don't know. All the safety people from work be having a heart attack. Yeah, no safety, no safety inspector. Here's some more construction. It's a real photo postcard. And then ice is what my father was an ice man, so that got me into collecting occupationals. So here's an ice delivery truck with a horse-drawn truck, carriage, I don't know, wagon. And here they are cutting ice on the left. And then on the right, this is an ice house in the summertime. They would take the ice and run it up the ramp and store it in these buildings and cover it with sawdust. I kind of got carried away with the ice pictures, but. And here's the ice workers. And the one on the right with the ice blocks is fabulous.
Mhm.
Did a little reading on ice work in a college class one time, the old time ice industry. It was an industrial evaluation, and they had competitions or advertising just like today. You know, ice from this lake is better than ice from that lake. People in Britain would import ice from America, and people in America would get their ice if they could afford it from Britain. And they talked about how pure and clean the ice was, but they had well, you got a picture of it, draft horses out on the lake, and you know what horses do when they're working.
Yeah.
Go right on the ice.
Yeah, hey.
Dust it off and put it in the wagon.
Yeah, there's an ice museum in Port Huron, Michigan, in case anybody wants to visit. It's really interesting. But you know, this was quite the industry, and they shipped ice all over the world. And we get the St. Ignace paper, and they talk about ice harvesting. They did that up until the 40s, mid 40s.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in a camp in Ontario, and they had an ice house and just an ice box, and then that's how they kept the food cold. And that was in the early 50s.
Oh, really? Okay, because I know there's a resort in I think it's New Hampshire that still does that, and that's their claim to fame, is they still have ice boxes and they show you how all the ice works. And then that top real photo postcard is ice house that burned down. So that's how much was left. And the bottom photo was a really tired real photo postcard, but Robert Lansdale, who used to do a lot of work for the PHSC, he fixed that photo up for me. So there's a shout out to Bob Lansdale there. Okay, and that's the last of the ice pictures. Sorry, I hope you like ice pictures.
Well, a lot of areas in rural Ontario didn't even have electricity until the early 1950s. So they
right. And yeah, some places where we have property in the UP, they had one light bulb in each room.
I don't think people are cutting much ice anymore.
No, no, it's too easy to get it the other way. So then
it's climate change.
Yeah, that too.
And also a lot of the lakes are polluted as well too.
Right. You can make it easier. It's a lot less work. So then this one is a real photo postcard. So if you're going to farm, you have to clear the land, and this is some serious stump removal going on here. And here's some farming pictures. I should have had more farming pictures, but by the time I had everything scanned, I wasn't going to start over. But because everybody worked on the farms back in the day, and then they moved into the cities. So these are pretty serious people working here. And there's I like the real photo postcard of the kid with the horse, the whole farm set up in the back. And then there's the harvesting of the pigs going on here. So if you're vegetarian, don't look too close. And here's hop pickers. You would grow the hops, but you had to go out and gather them. So these people, and hops can be picky, but it smells so good when you're doing it. Got a trainer. I should be out there training them right now. And this guy has tobacco. He's got a cabinet card. And here's more hunting and gathering. You got to do the fishing. That's from Cross Village. It's way up north of Michigan on the lower peninsula. And I think the guy's fixing the nets. I think that's another Michigan real photo postcard. And here's fishing on the left. It's kind of tired, but it was outside. A nice picture with his fishing pole. And then the guys on the right's got snowshoes. They must be hunters. And that's his big rifle. You should have checked with the neighbor. He knows about guns. He would have told me exactly what it was. And when you pick, there's the reason for the barrels. You got to put the apples in the barrels. And on the right, they're sorting through some kind of fruit. That's from the west side of Michigan.
Looks like cherries.
Yeah, it could be. And here we got maple syrup collection. And they would boil it down because I think it's like 1 to 10. You get like 1 quart from like 10 quarts of maple.
No, it's 1 quart from 10 gallons.
Yeah,
Oh, is
40
it
to-
1 quart? Okay.
40 to 1.
40 to 1. Oh.
40 to 1. I speak from experience. I just made some.
Did you? Okay. My dad used to make it too, but he'd sit there and boil it. But my father's cleanliness factor wasn't that high. So plus it just makes me sneeze. And then there's the beekeeper. He's got a serious lot of bees there. And then we get into lumbering. There was a lot of lumbering going on in Michigan. I love the dog in the front. In this picture, I thought at first that was a woman in the behind the child, but I'm not sure because the hair is parted on the side. So that's why I thought it was a woman, but looking close, I couldn't really tell. But I don't know what kind of wood that is, but it sure is pretty. And here we go, the steam shovel pulling up the logs, moving it around. Dangerous work. There's some more. There's the sawmill on the left, and then the guy on the right. I blew up the picture with the big saw on his shoulder. And here's some more sawmills. The one on the right's a little more serious. The other one's out in the woods. They would make small gauge trains to go in and out of the woods to pull out the logs. It used to be in all the local maps. There's another logging picture with the dogs. Got to let you know when the bears are around. Love the Rapid River, Michigan Shingle Company. They made a lot of shingles too. And then when Chicago burned, they used all the wood from Michigan for that. Here's some close-ups of some of the guys. The guy on the left has a big set of calipers. All tin types. And that's how they would get the logs out. They get the big wheels and raise it up and pull it. And the horses were out there like Mackinac Island all over again.
There's a pine stand just north of Grayling, the next.
Oh yeah,
Frederick,
Hardwick
I
Pines.
think. They have a museum there and a stand of old growth hardwood. that's uncut.
Yeah, it was saved, thank goodness. It's up at Quamanon Falls. There's some old uncut wood too. They're just huge, huge trees.
They have a stand in the top part of the Keweenaw Peninsula that's still uncut too. They
No,
call it Estivant Pines. It's the name of the area.
road trip. And then they had these tools. See, you could see the trees on the end. They would mark the trees and then they would float them downriver so they would know whose trees were whose. And then they had, my husband has some, but you would measure the stick and you get the dimensions and it would tell you how many board feet were in each tree. Pretty cool. And here we got surveyors. The one on the right is cyanotype real photo postcard. Theodolite. I think I could say that right. And here they are setting up the railroad. And these guys are, they're like the traffic control operators for the railroads. So the guy on the right's a little bit nerdy, but I thought he's got to be nerdy to pay attention to what's going on.
That's why they have the big clocks. with the
Yep.
Regulators. So to make sure that the trains didn't collide with each other because there was only one track.
Right. And here's some railroad workers. I guess you could smell those guys from here too. And the guys in the back, they got those big stands for, you see all those train wreck postcards. You just wonder how they straighten them up. But they would use those, and they had a train car that would, with the big crane on it, that would come through and pick it up. There's some more railroad guys having fun. There's the crew down there. They must have lived in that one car.
Mm.
And there's delivery from a train. It's a pretty spiffy board mount. And I love house moving pictures. And here they got the Gandy dancers moving a shed on the railroad track. And here they're moving a barn. I thought when I first bought it, I thought that's really weird drains. Then I went and looked closer and they're moving that barn. Gee, I've never been accused of being a quiet voice. And these people are moving more houses here. That one house looks like it barely fits right down the street on the right. And then they're moving the one on the upper left with steam track. And then we get to the mining. I found these two cabinet cards from the same estate, like 10 years apart. I was so excited to find the second one. But those guys mean business. They had to be going in the first day in the early morning to get that picture taken because they're all so clean. You see their helmets have their lights on it. That's Norway, Michigan. That's up in the U.
The same guys in both pictures too.
Yeah, some of them are the same. And this real photo poster was so cool, it just had to go by itself.
I noticed they didn't have as many miners in the second picture as they did the first. That was a dangerous job.
Yeah, dangerous is right. Yeah, and here's the inside view with the little carts. And then if you got a burn coal, then you got to put it in the boiler. So here's a shot of guys shoveling coal into something. That must be the boss in the right front.
A picture inside the mine in the previous screen there. I wonder how they lit that picture for to expose the plate.
No, they must have had really serious lights because they probably needed light to see. It could have been a long exposure too.
Flash powder they would have.
Yeah, they would have that flash powder. Then speaking of dangerous.
Okay, that I forgot about that.
And it looks like the bottom picture has a little train in it, like in a little engine.
Oh yeah, probably. That's a little newer than the other small picture.
Flash powder or magnesium strip?
Yeah.
That would have been a little tramway in that other one. They were very common in the early mines.
Right. You had to get it out. Sometimes they were pulled with mules.
Mhm.
So then we got the communications teams here. Sometimes they were in the people's homes, but sometimes they had the whole shebang there, like on the right. I love the skylight. There's another one in the home on the left. And then that's Owasso, Michigan. Greg Popovich lives there. He's on the. So that's all the electronics. Oh, yeah. And then we got everybody had delivery. So here we go. You get your sauerkraut. And you know that woman is large and in charge. And there's the upper left is a tintype. I think he's a butcher, but I'm not sure. And then there's the delivery guys on their bicycles for like telegraph. That's a real photo post. Here we got the guys that take care of the horses, farriers. And I didn't quite get what was going on in the left one until I blew it up and you could see the tools for brushing the horses. And then usually you could, on the one, the tintype on the right, you can tell they were dealing with horses because they would put the foot between their knees and hold it and then work on it. I don't know if that's a jug for helping or not, what the guy's holding. And here's some more close-ups of some tools. There's horseshoes involved with all of it. Guy on the right's real proud. There's more horseshoe guys with the tongs. It's kind of like blacksmith work. I love the fake backdrop on the left. You can see the skylight kind of up there too, or reflector. Oh, and here's Simon Creets, one of my good buddy Canadian dealers. I bought these next three pictures from him, and this is rolling tobacco, making cigars. Just too close in work. And there's no safeties on any of those, the bands, the belts. And everybody's pretty clean. It must have been the first part of the day. Another shot of the same, I think it might be the same room. I think they're flattening the leaves. And here the women did that part and the men did the actual rolling. And they all have spittoons around them, which they're not in the women's area, which I thought was interesting. I think you can see all the little molds there too. Oh dear, Sean, what a story. And then of course we got to have the photographer here. So there's the guy with his advertising there on the right, real photo postcard front and back. And then on the left, it's the interior of a fabric shop, but you can see the photographer in the mirror in the very center. I thought we got to have the photographer show up there. And then when I was a kid, I didn't quite remember this, but I've been buying these too. They're bar photos where they would have the dark room in the bar because you were in there for a while, so they would take pictures of you and then come back and sell them to you later where you were all softened up from drinking. So hopefully this guy didn't have a bad hangover the next day, but he might have. And then this is another unconventional job. These are mug shots. I wish I had some with the more, the weight and what else they did. Not this. The one on the left doesn't say what he did, but the one on the right, he's a burglar. I think there's a book out on those. I'm not sure, but they're just amazing, the things that people did. And the women, sometimes there were women pickpockets and stuff too. So. And two other unconventional jobs. The woman on the right is a snake handler, and that's one serious snake she's got there. She might have more than one. And then the woman on the left was a professional invalid. There's a whole wiki page on her, but she would sell these CDVs and she would claim never to eat and on and on and on, but she did that for years, so she must have been eating something. And then they would hire this woman to read tarot cards at the old maid's ball. So she would read their fortune, they probably would have to pay her. And the guy on the left is reading in palms, and then these ladies are doing tarot cards too. Not easy to find. And then the barbershop, I should have had more barbershop pictures in here, but there's a nice tin on the left. And then you could see the barbershop on the right where you could get your shoes shined. And they had the barber pole horizontal, which is really interesting. But you could get a bath in the back. There was probably barbers there, and you could buy all the cigars you could stand. And there's a spittoon right down there in the front. But that's before you could go someplace to get a bath, like the old-fashioned bathhouses. And this is a real photo postcard of a ladies' shop where they were making things, hats. And there's an interior of a hat shop. Kind of tired, but it was really a nice photo. And then there's the bar. There's that stove in the back, the spittoon. Go in there and swap a few lies. And there's the pool hall in the barber shop. Cigars on the left. There's a butcher shop with all the sawdust on the floor and the scales and the stools to sit around. You could swap some lies. There's another fabric shop. There's the Heinz 57. Look, all the stacked up cans. There's a bakery. Nice and clean. Not very. And there's a shoe shop. I think that sign says the girl is 14 years old. Not like today. And there's like the corner store with the potbelly stove to keep everybody warm. There's another one with the big potbelly stove with everything all around. Big scale. Electric lights, and it doesn't look like gas. And there's the candy shop. You can pay more, but it's not as good, I think. And there, don't even ask, no credit, cash only.
Just like the PHSC.
And this is one of the last pictures. I wondered if anybody would know what this is. I think the lower right picture, there's bales in that picture. So I don't know if this is tobacco. When we were kids, when we drove through Ontario, they used to grow all that tobacco through there. And they had buildings similar to this, but not like this. So, but you could see the vents are open on the top. You see the people in those little windows. So if anybody has a clue what's going on here, please let me know.
They could be drying sheds for tobacco.
Yeah, that's what I thought. They're huge because the sheds when we saw through Ontario when we were little were a lot smaller.
Yeah, no, but what they have steam pipes underneath them, and then they just dry them out that way.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Cindy, that last one might
Liked
have
it.
been, that last shot might have been, and I'm speaking out of my hat here, but a whiskey aging room
Oh,
to ventilate and control the environment for aging the barrels.
oh, could be. Could be. No light coming in except for those little windows.
But I don't know what the kids are about.
Oh, it could have been a work picnic for all we know.
Yeah, that's true.
So I see a raft of questions.
All right. So we are going to now take a short break, a comfort break, and you can refill your coffee mugs with coffee. Right. And we will be back at 10 after 9, when we're going to begin our question and answer period for the evening.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
The closed caption suddenly disappeared. Is that?
So I was trying to find where those closed captions were coming from, and those were running out of the presentation software.
Okay.
They were not the Zoom software. On Zoom, you may turn on captions or turn them off for your comfort.
I lost the actual little icon with the choice. So I don't see any closed caption thing.
Okay.
I'm not sure if that's just me.
Well, what I will do is I will turn captions on. I'll enable captions on right now, and you should be able to see them now. Do you have a choice now?
Yeah, now I see them.
Okay. So then you can have captions on and off on your own.
Okay.
Yeah, you can turn them on and off for yourself.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Individually. No problem.
All
right.
That was great.
That was fantastic.
Wow.
Oh, good.
Fantastic. Big round of applause.
I hope you liked it.
Applause for the MotZ.
Amazing collection.
Oh, yeah, that's just the tip of the iceberg.
I really like the way you put them up 2 or 3 up on a page, and they had something to do with each other or not. Yeah, that was great. And
They
that's
tried to. I
that's
didn't feel everybody looking at pictures for hours.
in there. And one cat picture.
Yeah, and the rest of them didn't parade around, so that was good.
No, it's better when they parade around.
Yeah, but they're bored.
Yeah, but only one.
Low profile.
Wow.
it was interesting with the dentist drill. My father had a dentist chair with a drill, and it was foot operated.
Yep.
But it didn't have a very big flywheel on it, so you really had to be careful about the.
Yeah.
One day at the St. Lawrence Antique Market, one of those drill devices showed up,
Oh,
and it's a nasty looking piece of work,
Yeah.
right? But you had to keep pumping it to make it go, but it's just so nasty looking.
no, there was a reason nobody liked to go to the dentist back then.
Yeah.
A few years ago, we were at the Eastern Ontario Railway Museum, and they were having a presentation on the dentist trains that actually traveled through like Northern Ontario and
Hmm.
other parts of Canada, and they actually operated, I think, until 1977. But going to this railway car from like the 1930s, and there was all this 1930s dentist equipment, and I'm like, whoa, that looks pretty scary.
Yeah.
Those poor people up north, as if they don't have it hard enough with the snow and the cold and the black flies and the mosquitoes. Now they've got to have a dentist popping in every now and then to torture them some more. Ugh,
On a railway car of all places.
God, railway car.
I'd much rather have a treadle sewing machine.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, so you probably have the dentist rail car, and then you have the photographer's railway car,
Oh, yeah.
right? And if you survived with the dentist, you got your picture taken. Oh,
You did it first.
As long as they don't do before and after.
well, I mean, early photography was kind of torture as well, right?
Oh, yeah.
Don't move.
Oh,
For 15
Oh.
seconds, stay put.
And you
Or it was wet plate too.
I don't know about that. I think it might have been more torture for the photographer.
As the daguerreotypist is speaking, yeah.
Yes.
taking pictures of people with no teeth. Yeah, right. That's a team. You said you had a head clamp thingy, Cindy,
Yeah, I did. I donated it to the York Museum.
and it was the whole
Museum.
the base, the thing, the
Yeah, the head clamps.
That's
I
cool.
beg to differ. It's not a head clamp. It's a head rest.
Head all okay. There you go.
Okay. I've been making daguerreotypes since 1976. It's a head rest.
Okay, you would know.
Where is?
With all due respect,
But it is a baby clamp, right?
it's not a clamp.
No. But the one that you had for babies.
Yeah, the one that you had for babies, they literally went around their waist.
That was a belt. That was not a head clamp.
It wasn't a head. It was a waist clamp, right? It
Yeah.
was.
Well, it's a waist belt.
No, it wasn't belt. It was.
Yeah, I've seen clamps and belts.
Yeah, I know what you
Okay.
mean. But the one I have is actually a metal hoop that you put around the kid and from the back. It was made by Century, right?
From the waist.
Yeah, you would put it around the baby's waist and throw the
Wow.
dress over.
Would you cover it with any belt or anything
So you would cover
for?
it with the
aesthetic?
child's dress or tunic or shirt or whatever you want to call it. But it was a metal hoop that went around you, and there was a
Yikes.
knurled knob on the back that you would tighten up. That kid ain't going anywhere.
Mm-mm.
Well, a leather belt would have done the same thing.
But it's less of a torture device. It's
I
leather.
know. That's wild.
Do you remember the late John Craig? He had a couple of baby high chairs, right? But
Yes.
both actually incorporated a metal clamping device.
Okay, I've seen those high chairs that had the leather belts, but
Really?
not the metal clamp.
Yeah. So I can't.
And I do remember John Craig. I love that man.
He was great. Just trying to figure out where mine is. I saw it. No, it doesn't mean anything. I saw it a few weeks ago. I'll pull it out.
All right. Well, we are going to
Okay, we're going to resume.
in a couple moments. This is your 2-minute warning, your 2-minute reminder that the best part of the show is about to start. And for this second half, we are going to pause the recording so that if you wish to turn your cameras on, you feel comfortable doing so. And so to foster more candid questions for Cindy. All right. So we'll resume in just a couple of minutes.
All right, I'm getting a beer.
All right. And I will pause the recording at this time.